Hey there, and thanks for joining GamePoints, our weekly get-together. We talk about the past week in gaming news. I am your host, Stephen Brown. Joining me today are Sean Brown and David Smith. Say hey, guys.
No.
What's up?
Tonight we're going to talk about Prey for the Gods, Ashes of the Singularity, a bit of StarCraft scandal news, League Worlds. But first, before we get to any of it, I want to talk about that awesome-ass Star Wars trailer that we just saw.
Yeah, man.
Star Wars.
Way to be enthusiastic, David.
Star Wars.
There we go. Thoughts, feelings, theories.
My generation's redemption and a good Star Wars movie.
Yeah, you do owe the older generation and any other generations upcoming for the shit that was the prequels.
That wasn't our fault. People
Yes, it
our
was.
age
No, that was
were
your
not
fault.
responsible for making.
Incorrect, because that movie was made to cater to you.
To be fair, I
Bunch of
was 12 when it
soft
came out,
pussies.
so it wasn't really my generation because I feel like that like 18 to 20 when that came out. That should have been. So like actually, this is my generation's to shit on their generation's movie.
Yeah, dude.
Is what I should say.
Anyways, I have a theory. I was talking about it with you both earlier, and I think my second theory is better than my first in the fact that the reason why you haven't seen Luke Skywalker at all, they're playing him really close to the chest, is because he's dead already. Now, I know he's going to be in the movie, probably as a Force ghost. And his son, who is Kylo Ren, killed him. That's my theory.
I don't. Okay, so I disagree with you on a lot of about 80% of that. So
Okay.
I do. And like this is just a theory. I have a few, so this is just one of them. One, I don't think he's dead, because there's a scene from the first trailer where you actually see like a cloaked figure like hand that one dude Luke's fucking lightsaber, and I don't think that's Leia. But I do think Kylo Ren is a grandson of Anakin Skywalker, but I think it's from Leia's side and it's twins, and it's gonna be Kylo Ren and the main girl are actually twins.
Possibly.
And they got separated at birth. Just from other rumors and like plot leaks that I have a faint knowledge on. I don't think Luke Skywalker is going to be like completely evil, but I think he kind of forced someone into a path he didn't want too early in his life, and that's why Kylo Ren became like this whiny teenager who has the Force but isn't like disciplined in it like Vader was. Because even Vader was a Sith, but like he was a Sith. They had order. There's none of that shit left anymore.
Anything you want to add?
Dude, I'm just gonna watch Star Wars.
Fair enough.
Like,
one
I
thing,
don't need to
Boring
speculate.
fuck.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna watch Star Wars. I'm just gonna
one
let it
thing
happen.
I want to speculate about before we actually get into video games, what this show's about, is the poster came out too, and I don't know if you two have seen the poster, but what the hell's that
I've
Death
seen the
Star?
Lego version of the poster.
What the hell's that Death Star 3 in the background?
Dude, why not?
There's like a third Death Star in the background of the movie poster.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a giant ball-shaped version of HAL.
It's gotta be like the First Order's fucking home base.
Yeah, but do we really want to go
base.
back and do this plot thread again?
Yes.
Okay.
Why not?
I won't argue with it. Anyways,
Make Star Wars great again.
what we're going to do is we're going to build a wall around the original trilogy so no one else can get in there and fuck with it.
Yeah.
And we're going to take all the bad influences that were in the original trilogy, like Jar Jar Binks and Watto and Pod Race, and we're going to put them on the other side of the wall. And we'll let the good ones back in.
Well, if true Star Wars fans
gonna be
know
huge.
that the Empire is actually quite racist and only allow humans to be part like of them. Like I'm pretty sure Grand Moff Thrawn was like the only alien part of the Empire.
If you want to get into the expanded universe, they actually talk about how, yeah, he was the only alien Grand Moff, and even then he was assigned out to like the fucking backwater parts of the galaxy because he was an alien, even though he could have saved the Battle of Endor. But that's expanded universe, and as Disney so unceremoniously did, they took an axe to it, so he doesn't exist anymore. We live in a world where Jar Jar Binks and Savage Opress exist as canon, but Grand Admiral Thrawn does not.
True.
Think about
But
that.
we also live in a world where Boba Fett's pretty much guaranteed to come back in the film trilogy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll see that happen too. Probably not.
Oh,
away.
yeah.
Anyways.
But wait, hold on. There's one thing that we haven't talked about yet.
Yes,
with this
David.
new Star Wars. How much lens flare do you think is going to be in it?
J.J.
Oh, it's
Abrams.
J.J. Abrams.
So you'll see some. You'll also see a bunch of shaky cam.
Tons.
Like, just metric fuck tons.
However,
and honestly,
It's gonna be all kinds
that
of
is
like
the only
just-
thing that worries me.
Here's the thing, though. lens
I don't
flare
want-
is usually an artificial product. Oh, don't do that. Lens flare is
No, lens
usually
flare,
an
bitch.
artificial product of CGI. It's like they deliberately added in there to kind of make things shinier and look like a little bit more realistic. He's using a lot more practical effects on this rather than CGI. So he might be limited by technology unless he's going to have, here's all this cool practical
Dude with
effects
the mirror?
shit, and then some guy with the mirror in the rafters shining it down. Give him the,
It's the throwback to the 77 Star Wars.
I was going to say give him the Kevin Costner.
I don't need 80 years worth of lens flare in my Star Wars. Okay.
Well, we'll
Still.
see what happens come December. Is it Christmas or is it like December 17th or something?
December
like that?
18th.
18th.
18th. Okay, so it's right before Christmas. Anyways, this is Game Points, where we talk about video games and stuff going on in the video gaming industry. And the first thing I want to go ahead and bring up right out the gate is that Overwatch has officially, or not officially yet, but has a date when it is going to go into beta. It is coming October 27th. Now, for those of you who don't know, Overwatch is the team-based first-person shooter being made by Blizzard. Think Team Fortress Classic, or TF2, character
How'd you know
hero
Classic?
based. Huh?
Why'd you go classic?
Because that's the one I actually played, so that's the one that gets stuck in my head.
That's weird.
But yeah, there's a bunch of these coming out. You have this, you have, is it Overstrike? And then you have Battleborn. No, Overstrike was something else, wasn't it?
You got Battleborn.
I know Battleborn. There's, I
and
wanna
then
say
there's Flippy
another one.
B's game.
Yeah, Lawbreakers.
Yes.
So this is about to become your new open world genre, where open world was like the big thing. Now it's all hero shooters. It looks
This
cool.
is gonna. I think it's more shooting for the MOBA genre, because it's a hero shooter.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
You guys excited about this at all? I don't think I'm going to be too into it, but we'll see.
I'm probably gonna play the hell out of this game, just like constantly all the time.
Don?
If you know me personally, it's no secret that first-person competitive shooters is what I'm best at, and I like to think I'm pretty damn good at them. So yeah, dude, I'm gonna wreck some house in this Blizzard game,
We'll
and
definitely see how it goes.
insert some
lots of
D's and
hours.
some A's.
I got lots of hours in TF2, and Blizzard makes a good product. So
That's the
it.
big selling point for me, the fact that it's Blizzard. Otherwise, I
it's
probably
also
wouldn't have any
their
interest in it
first
at all.
new IP in how long?
days. Even like,
When
Like
was
Hearthstone
Hearthstone?
and Heroes of the Storm don't count.
I was gonna say, even
Those are
Hearthstone
just-
and Hero of the Storms are just their other IPs with the skin, other games
Yeah.
with the IP branded skin on them.
But this
Yeah.
is unique.
Brand IP skin, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. Anyways, from their actual blog, the quote is, "The Overwatch beta officially begins on October 27th, and we're getting ready to invite our first batch of recruits for some field testing. We're aiming to accomplish two primary goals with public beta test. First, get in tons of top-notch level feedback based on gameplay, including balance, feel, and fun to help us make Overwatch the best team-based shooter on the planet. Ooh. Second, we want to hammer the heck out of our tech, including stress testing our servers, infrastructure, and making sure the game runs great on the widest variety of systems possible." Yes.
So the only issue I'm kind of scared about in this game is Blizzard is notorious for purposely making champions in their games or classes in their games unbalanced at certain points and rotating them. So everyone's kind of got their go at who's best. I really hope they don't do that in this game and
You're
try
hoping
to
it's
actually
just bounce from the get-go.
Yeah, and also Ghostcrawler, the guy who did most of their balancing issues in a lot of their games, left. He works for Riot now. So I'm kind of curious to see if the new blood can step up and do a good job. Because World of Warcraft was really good at balancing. A lot of people are like, they're terrible, but they did what I just said on purpose. They made it so everyone had their spot in their sunlight, or stardom and everything like that. So with a competitive game like this, I don't think it's going to be the greatest thing. So I'm
No,
kind
you
of
wouldn't
curious
really
to see
want
how
it
they're
to
going to
be
do
built
it.
like that.
Does
Yeah.
Heroes of Storm follow that same caveat?
Kinda. There's some champs that are obviously better than others, but that's just gonna be that's a MOBA thing. It's kind of hard to compare
Okay.
that to other things because there's always gonna be broken strategies.
And I
Heroes-
think that's what we're
Heroes
going to get
feels
with
more
this.
balanced because that game you can kind of play a lot of characters even if you necessarily shouldn't, just because the way the team comps will work out.
It's
like you
why
can
I
get away
play
with
it.
stuff.
Yeah, and also another thing too with MOBAs is there's completely differences in solo queue and competitive team play. In shooters, it's not a huge difference. Now, I played Halo both, just for fun and competitively, and there are definitely differences, but mechanically the game is still the same. If you're good mechanically in solo queue and games like that, or playing by yourself in Call of Duty or whatever, you can usually translate that to team play. In MOBAs, it's completely different. So I'm really worried that if anything's gonna be wrong with this game, it's gonna be balancing issues between classes.
Well, if you want to take a look at the beta itself, you will probably want to know that it's being rolled out in 2 separate phases. The first one, which begins October 27th, is a small group closed beta test. They're going to form the core of the testing crew. Apparently, it's going to be limited invite. But every now and then, they're also going to be having big, giant beta testing weekends where they just kind of open the floodgates and a lot more people come in. So if you don't get in on the initial closed beta, keep an eye on your emails, and you might get in on one of the beta weekends.
And of course,
we'll see how that
Overwatch
goes.
Phase 3, Infinity Wars.
Anyways, get ready for these piss poor transitions, because there's just really no way to rotate any of these topics to each other. So we're going to go from Overwatch right into Friday the 13th.
We could have made some kind of multiplayer reference.
I
how
didn't
a lot
feel
of
like
games
working
take
that hard
teams
for
of
it
people
at
and make
all.
them play against each other. But in recent times, there's been new kind of multiplayer games that are called asymmetrical multiplayer games.
You know who could use some Overwatch is those camp counselors from this next game we're talking about.
There we go.
Let's get to you.
Anyways, for those of you who are wondering, yes, Friday the 13th has been officially kickstarted. There's Adam Sessler, for some reason, pitching out. I don't know what his involvement in the game is. But what they're essentially promising is 1 versus 7 asymmetrical multiplayer, where one person plays Jason and 7 other people play camp counselors trying to not get Jasoned. This has gone up, I'm going to say 4 days ago. They're asking for $700,000. They've raised $450,000 currently, as you can see right there. They got a lot of names attached to it. The original producer of the original movie, Tom Savini, is doing like the gore stuff behind it. I like the idea of it. I don't expect it to go anywhere.
I agree with you, like 100%. I want this game to be great. And I don't even like horror movies. I was never a big Jason or Friday the 13th fan or anything like that. But like the concept of the game, I feel like if a big game takes this idea and does something great with it, it's the starting of something that someone can steal. This is what I'm saying.
Well, keep in mind, too, this didn't originally start off as Friday the 13th. This is, a year ago, a game called, I want to say it was called like Slasher Chronicles or Survival Camp or something like that.
Slasher Volume 1, Summer Camp.
That's what it was. Thank you, David. Essentially, what happened is the guy who owns the rights to Friday the 13th saw it and went, I like the cut of your jib. Here's the Friday the 13th license. Go make a Friday the 13th game.
Sean Cunningham.
Yes, that is also his name. But yeah,
yeah.
I can get
Think
behind
of that jet. It don't mean but.
But here's the thing. Is this any different than Evolve?
Well, now here's the question, because there's games like Evolve that game would have been awesome if it wasn't $1 million and just pissed on you all the time. But there are really good asymmetrical multiplayer games like Depth, for example.
Yeah, I was about to say Depth.
That game is phenomenal, and it's a 4v2 divers versus sharks game on Steam. It's actually well balanced and really fun, and at a much better price point than Evolve is. So kind of depending on how well they build the balance and how well they build the environment, like the feeling of a horror game, it could be a really fun system.
Just real quick shout out to Monkey in the chat. Thanks for joining us. Feel free to join in when we can. Can't always address you personally, but hey, we'll try to answer when we can. As far as this, one thing I do kind of hope they get is that if you just try to stand up to Jason, you just get murdered. Like he just
That's one of the things they were
the
talking
F
about,
button
is
and
that
you immediately die.
It's less of a you can kind of throw down with the monster, a la Evolve or Depth, where like you're on equal footing. No, Jason is super overpowered, is what the devs are saying.
Absolutely,
and
as a
you can kind of work together.
Should be.
Yeah, try and figure stuff out. One of the things that I thought was actually really cool is that you can work with people, but you don't have to.
Oh yeah, you can say "fuck this dude." I just have to outrun you.
Yeah, well, because for example, there's a boat that's broken. It's one of the things they're talking about in their video, and you can get parts, and so you'll have everybody, like your whole 7-player team, getting parts for the boat and fuel and whatever else. The boat holds 2 people, so you guys are loading the last bit of gas into the boat, and Jason comes out of the water. I'm on the boat, and screw you guys, I'm gone.
I heard the same about like a car. You can get a car or a motorcycle and just drive the fuck off, and we'll see how that works.
Yeah.
If this game is cheap and comes out and like it gets decent reviews, I will definitely try to play it.
I want to take a look at it. I'm not completely dismissive of it. I don't think it has a chance of it might pass the Kickstarter, but I don't think it's going to hit any of their Kickstarter goals, they have like this massive list of blurred out Kickstarter goals. I don't think any of that's going to work. One thing I did like about it, though, is that apparently you can take Jason down, but it's like considered like an epic quest or something like that. You have to do all kinds of shit to get everything just right to bring him down.
It's like getting Flight Form in Burning Crusade.
Exactly. But yeah, Friday the 13th Kickstarter, you can check it out. There'll be a link down below if you're watching on YouTube. Could be worth it, but we'll see. I just don't think it has a chance. Yeah. Its chances about as great as the first couple having sex, am I right?
Hey-oh.
Anyways, let's move from something that we're kind of lukewarm about to something that I first saw today, thanks to David, that I'm actually really excited for.
I am so excited about this.
That is Pray for the Gods. Notice it's Pray, P-R-E-Y. This is a game coming out from I completely did not take a look at the developer, so my bad. It's essentially a Shadow of the Colossus themed game. I mean, you could easily mistake it for Shadow of the Colossus too.
It looks just like it, but I like how when you said like, by the way, it's Pray, P-R-E-Y. Like you said, like you
why
the wrong letter there.
That's pretty funny. It's pretty good. Anyway, from what I was reading, a lot of things, it's not just the Shadow of the Colossus ripoff. It does have a little bit of like Tomb Raider adventuring.
Yeah,
exploration to it.
I've heard the term Tomb Raider cost of Shadow of the Colossus tossed around a few times. The premise, go ahead.
Okay, so obviously there's, I'm going to kind of just cut over your premise, but it's about a person going and you're fighting against like your own gods, more or less, to achieve your goal. But one of the things that I really like is from paying attention to the trailer and looking at it, it's not necessarily the exact same as Shadow of the Colossus, where like you're fighting these giant monsters and they're kind of trying to hit you a little bit. But the monsters are very aware of you, from what I understand. So it's less of I'm going on this epic quest to go find this monster. I'm going to fight him right here for a little while, but there are monsters that may come after you, and that sounds really intriguing to me.
There are a couple people in chat asking about Halo 5 real quick, by the way. Not to cut into this talk, but I do want to address it because they asked nicely. Halo 5, we've talked about off and on throughout the past couple weeks. This week, I don't think we're getting into it pretty hard, but the week that we had that game comes out, which is not next week, or is it next week? Yeah, next week, rather. Next week's show will probably have a big Halo 5 segment to it. So tune in then, and you'll probably talk about it. Anyways, Pray for the Gods, what we are actually just discussing right now as I lose the ability to talk. Yeah, I'm excited for it. It looks cool. I like the concept of it. I like the idea of, hey, it's fucking winter everywhere, and it ain't not wintering anytime soon. I'm going to go murder all my gods. Very interesting concept, I find. Anything else you guys want to add to this?
It kind of looked like Horizons to me.
Zero Dawn? Horizon Zero Dawn looked a lot more action-packed than this.
No, I'm talking about just the aesthetic. Purely the look.
Nah, I have to disagree with you on that. The look to Horizon's
bitch looks exactly the same.
No, she looks a lot like the person from Shadow of the Colossus, but the chick from Horizon looks a lot like Nariko from Heavenly Sword, which probably isn't a coincidence since it's Ninja Theory during both of those. Game. The red dreadlock pick sticks, yeah. the like savage bikini kind of, well, not the bikini, but the savage warrior look with the bow and arrow. I see a vast difference between the two people, so I don't see any similarity between Horizon and Pray for the Gods at all.
I'm not talking about the gameplay at all.
I'm talking about the. I am talking about the aesthetic. I'm talking about the way it looks. I don't see any similarity between them at all. But anyways,
I just want it. I just want to play that game since Last Guardian's going to come out whenever the hell it decides to come out, probably in another 8 years. I need something. And a nice Shadow of the Colossus throwback sounds great to me.
Agreed. But you know what else also sounds great? An RTS, which we haven't had in a while. I haven't had a good RTS in a while. But fortunately...
I was going to say, good RTS is the key word there.
That's the key word.
RTS has come out all the time.
Fortunately, StarDock might be changing that, and I'm really excited about Ashes of Singularity coming out on Early Access on the 22nd. Early Access I do have mixed feelings about, but this one I might pick up. If you don't know what Ashes of the Singularity is, it's from the guys at StarDock, the same minds that brought you Sorcerer King and Sins of a Solar Empire.
There you go. Galactic Civilizations.
Galactic Civilizations. They know how to do grand strategy, real-time strategy, 4X strategy, if it's strategy focused, they know how to do it. And, well, I mean, let's take a look at it here. Let me bring it up right here. Ashes of Singularity is going to be Starduck's like tech baby here. It's going to be the first game to fully use DirectX 12. It's going to be the first native 64-bit RTS game. They got a new 3D engine they're calling Nitrous that's supposed to be making use of all multi-core, the newer multi-core processors out there. It looks like Supreme Commander actually looked really good rather than basic like Supreme Commander did. I am looking forward to this. I mean, look at all that shit going on there.
Yeah, well, I think the cool thing is if you start looking into the notes on it, like you're saying, it's actually built using DirectX 12.
Yes.
And, I mean, they have the new 3D engine. I like the native 64-bit RTS. That's kind of cool. Basically, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on in this game. And I remember modding old RTSs, like, because I used to play Total Annihilation all the time, and putting mods on that game when your computer got decent, so you could actually support like 500 units on screen or something like that, and that being a big deal. But where they're getting now, it's going to be pretty awesome.
I absolutely agree. I cannot wait to get into this. I am a big supporter of a lot of stuff Stardock does. I don't think I've played a bad game from them yet. They exist, from what I understand, but I haven't played one myself. Sins of the Solar Empire is still one of my favorite strategy games out there. Sorcerer King is an amazing concept, done pretty well. So I expect the same from Ashes of Singularity. Brad Wardale, if you're watching, and I know you are, give us copies of it. Come on.
Oh, yeah. We'll do super good reviews for you. Or make you feel good?
Well, we'll give him a good review if the game itself is good. I don't want to say that we're paid for scores.
Oh, no, you can pay me for scores. That's fine. Just give me the game.
Fair enough. Sean, are you interested in this at all?
Yeah, I like strategy games. I've probably played Sins of the Solar Empire more than anyone else on this panel, at least. So
yeah, that's
I'm
fair.
A huge fan.
We'll definitely see how that goes. Anything else you guys want to talk about this before we move on to the next topic? Because the next topic may be quick or might stretch on for quite a while, depending on how.
The next one makes me a little sad.
David Sexton.
Hey, Earl Stoke.
Sounds like we're moving on to the fact that, according to the New Yorker, Kojima has officially left Konami and did so back on October 9th.
Good for him.
Yeah,
on Friday.
We need to get the hell out. Let me go ahead and bring up the article right here. According to this article, on Friday, October 9th, Hideo Kojima left Tokyo offices of Konami, the video game company where he worked since 1986. So 30 years. He's been there roughly 30 years. The departure ceremony, according to one of the 100 or so guests who attended and who was asked that I not use his name, took place at Kojima Productions, the director's in-house studio, and was a, quote, rather chillful but also emotional goodbye. Now, here's the kick in the balls that kind of made me go, just fucking, how classes are you, Konami? He said that he did not see Konami's president or its CEO at the party. This is a man who fucking worked with you for 30 years. This is a man who gave you one of the greatest gaming franchises of all times. And you couldn't even fucking be half-assed to show up to a farewell party.
This is a dude that just made you $100 million.
Now, to be fair, it could have been like, oh, yeah, our families both just simultaneously died and we had to attend their funerals. We don't know the actual circumstances of it, but I get the distinct feeling they just said, fuck it, we don't like this guy, so we're not showing up to it.
Well, with the amount of bullshit Kojima's been doing, Konami's been doing. The amount of bullshit Kojima's been dealing with for this amount of time, it's not really that surprising to see Konami just not caring about it, because they stopped caring a while ago. I mean, obviously. They have no real interest in him. I think the only thing they care about regarding Kojima right now is the fact that he has a non-compete clause.
He does. It's up in December. Now, here's the thing about non-compete clauses. I don't know about Japanese law, flat out. But I do know that if he wants to work for an American company, and since Konami has a lot of holdings in America, anything that restricts things like non-compete clauses or agreements not to go through the company, all that falls under something called restraint of trade, and it's for the most part illegal. You can take him to court and they'll just go, whatever. You can go work for whoever you want whenever you want. Now, since his non-compete clause expires in December, it's probably just easier and quicker to just go, I'm just going to wait till December, 2 months or so, and move on with my life. And in fact, it seems like he wants to talk about something because in our New Yorker article, the writer says he was asked about a couple things and Haruki Kojima more or less said, yeah, I'll talk about them, but I'm under legal documents saying I can't. So hopefully when 2016 hits, we'll hear him announce that he's teamed up with insert big publisher here and he's making Wood Gas 1 or whatever he has planned. We'll see how that goes.
Wood Gas 1.
Wood Gas 1.
Wood Gas 1. I think it's going to be...
Did you just like Kaiser Soze that?
Wood Hog.
Wood Gas 1.
Metal Gear Solid... shit.
I did the thing again, damn it. Okay, how about please not... Fuck. Man, I just need an idea like snap. Not gonna happen. But very excited to see him do new things.
Yeah, I want to see him branch out from Metal Gear. What sucks is I think it's more tragic than not getting a decent Metal Gear again. Although we can't really say if it's going to be decent or not. What I'm really upset about is that we won't get Zone of the Enders 3. Which is something he always said he wanted to do. Ignoring the elephant in the room that is Silent Hills, of course. I'm talking about the long-standing rumor. So, we'll see how it goes.
Guillermo del Toro actually just came out and talked about Silent Hills recently.
Yeah, he's so burned about that. He is so salty.
He's like legit pissed.
But then again, this is like the third game he's had canceled on him. Because there was Insane, and then there was something... he was doing before then. I can't remember the name of it. But this is the third game that got canceled out on him.
From Guillermo del Toro about Silent Hills. It getting canceled makes no fucking sense to me.
Yes. It doesn't make sense to anyone either, Mr. del Toro. I hope Crimson Peak does well for you.
Actually, I had to nail my desk down to the ground so I could not flip it over.
It's tragic what's happened there, and
it really triggers me.
That is the last bit of Konami that was good, because Castlevania team bounced, Suikoden team bounced, the Contra team bounced. They have nothing left other than pachinko machines. But we can look forward to that big
mobile
boss
games
machine. Anyways, something else we can also look forward to, moving on to the next topic here, is that remember how a couple months ago rumors of a new Nintendo console called the NX, the codename NX, were getting tossed around? Apparently, according to the Wall Street Journal, it's out in the wild. Dev kits, an article from the Wall Street Journal, and this is via GameIndustry.biz because I'm not buying a Wall Street Journal account, essentially suggests that they're being distributed for a the development kits are anyways.
I'm surprised they're able to talk about them without Nintendo shutting them down.
Yeah, right?
Well,
you're allowed to.
Here's our product. Use it.
Say Nintendo. Oh, dude, we're gonna get shut down because there's a picture of an S.
Possibly. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, this article's quick. I'm just gonna read the whole thing here. Rumors suggest the machine could be in public hands 2016, which is really fucking quick, by the way. Which just shows you how desperate Nintendo is to get a console that works, well, not works, but that actually can do something. A report from sources at the Wall Street Journal has suggested that the SDK for Nintendo's next console, the NX, is already being distributed to publishers and developers, meaning the machine could launch as early as 2016. The report doesn't give specific sources, but also suggests that the device will consist of a base unit and at least one portable or mobile unit, with Nintendo intent on creating a machine which will keep pace with the technical arms race, something that normally doesn't make a direct priority. Essentially what they're saying is that they're going to do the whole console cross with the handheld thing we've been hearing rumors of for years, and
wait,
it's
isn't that
going
called
to have...
the Wii U?
No, because you can't take that gamepad on the go. It's still dependent on the console itself.
Oh, I'm sorry. Isn't that called the Dreamcast?
I don't count the VMU, unless you count it as like just a Tamagotchi machine.
Yeah.
But of bigger note on here too, I find, is the fact that it sounds like they're going, okay, we need to be a graphics powerhouse.
It only took you fucking 12 years.
Going on in the article. The exact shape of the NX hardware isn't clear yet, the story reads. People familiar with the development plans said Nintendo would likely include both a console and at least one mobile unit that could either be used in conjunction with or the console with the console rather, or taken on the road for separate use. They also said Nintendo would aim to put industry-leading chips in the NX devices after criticism that the Wii U's capabilities didn't match those of the competitors. More or less just saying what I said right there. Now, this could, the article goes on to theorize this could be an aggressive move by the man who took over after Iwata died.
Hey man, sometimes change is good.
I fully agree, and Nintendo desperately needs to change. They've been kind of looking back for quite a while.
I will say Nintendo will stay afloat and like still be, you know, at least third best in the game company, mainly because there's no lower than third right now. But because 5-year-olds will always exist.
Well, hell, the Amiibo. Look at the craze for the Amiibos, and that isn't just 5-year-olds buying those up.
Also,
oh
Pokemon.
no. Well, keep in mind that there's like, you know, Star Wars stuff now, so there's people that have to buy things like that.
Yeah,
Star Wars
like,
stuff for what? I don't. Think
well,
Star
I'm
Wars
actually
Amiibos.
thinking of the Disney Infinity stuff, but it's the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we're talking Nintendo, though. Nintendo will always survive, in my opinion, based on the strength of their properties, not their hardware.
That's right.
yeah, exactly.
You will have people who will buy a console just for the newest Zelda, just for the newest Mario, just for the newest Metroid, even though that looks stupid.
Oh my god, don't get me started. I'm pretty sure, and I'm about 95% positive that Pokemon is still the highest grossing property of all time in gaming history.
I couldn't even begin to tell you. So I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I'm not going to be able to confirm it either for you.
I'm actually almost positive because we just looked this up, and like Final Fantasy was like the next closest one by like millions and millions off though.
I would not be surprised if that was the case.
Yeah.
Though like I said, I just can't confirm it.
Yeah.
So, well, let's go a different way with this. So, if there's a new Nintendo platform that comes out, is there anything that they can put on it that will get one of you guys to buy one?
Yeah.
What? Oh, you know what? I know. I have an answer to that actually. Sean, you first.
Well, the answer is clear because we all fall prey to it. Maybe not Steven, but I know myself, David, a few other people. We all. Dude, I've bought 2 DSs for the same fucking game.
Yep.
That's Monster Hunter.
A console Monster Hunter.
You know they did that for the Wii, if I recall. Didn't they do that for the Wii U
Yeah,
as well?
and some of us bought it, like out of our group, anyways. I did. I had it on the DS, but you could cross-platform it, which I mean, other consoles haven't gotten that down yet. But still, like, you could do it. So I mean, that game.
If I could sit on my couch and play a full TV-sized HD Monster Hunter, I would be super happy.
What would get me to buy a Nintendo console? And I don't count the 3DS. I'm talking like home system.
Yeah.
Like hooked to your TV console.
Yes, I know a lot of people would go that new Legend of Zelda would get me to buy a Wii U, and it does look amazing. However, you want to sell me on a console, Nintendo, and I know you're listening. You make me a good classic style Metroid game. You could do it 3D like you did Prime. Prime was fucking amazing. But I don't want no Metroid Federation Force Sports Ball. I don't want no fucking Samus Aran has daddy issues.
Scored a point in
Other
sports
M.
ball.
I want a straight up silent protagonist, Samus Aran, being badass, fucking up Ridley hard, and I want Ridley to still be a badass, and then she goes and blasts Mother Brain, and there's Metroids everywhere, because that's what fucking Metroid is.
So not only did you steal my line from the show, but you stole my idea too. Because like that's to get a console, dude. If you have the ball, like I'm calling you out right now, Nintendo, have the balls to make like a rated M Metroid game.
Yeah, I would love to see an M-rated Metroid, or
Survivor horror Metroid.
you know what? Yeah, a survival horror like
You know
Shinji
how fucking great that would be?
Metroid directed by Shinji Mikami, the guy who, I think that's the guy who did Resident Evil. I could be
Resident
wrong
Evil.
with his name.
You are correct.
Or imagine a
Hideo Kojima doing
Hideo Kojima
Metroid.
Zelda. A Hideo Kojima Zelda with all the wacky bosses and shit Zelda has, and the open world after what we've seen. Imagine Zelda on the Fox engine.
Oh man, no, that's mean. I don't want that.
Too bad the Fox engine's going to get mothballed.
Actually, there's a lot Nintendo could do to get me to buy a console, and that's
They just won't do it. And I'm hoping
make your franchises more adult. Like, just make at least one or two of them more adult.
Actually, have any of your franchises grow.
Think about a
with
good
your
Star
fan
Fox
base.
game that'd be like rated M.
Dude, give it to Project Aces. Actually, I
Get
think
a
they
good
tried
story
to give it
writer.
to Project Aces. It just didn't work out too well. I
We'll
could
just
be wrong on that.
let any of the IPs grow a little bit, and it doesn't even have to be the whole. Like you don't have to just say, okay, Mario is an adult thing. No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to completely.
And to be fair, all the Mario games have been pretty money. Even the Galaxy games, the newer ones, are still pretty awesome. Like Mario, I feel like is an IP that's good where it is. You want that to be like your all ages can play it. But games like Metroid, like especially Metroid, that game can get so dark and be so good with the story. Pretty much, you could have like redo Dead Space with Samus instead of Isaac, and then have Metroids instead of what they're called, the not Necrolops, Necromorphs. You have like the same fucking game there, just darker. Like that'd be awesome.
Man, that would be so good. As much as I would,
I want a new F-Zero.
It really grinds my gears.
As much as I would love to keep talking about what we would love for Nintendo to do, and I have hope for the future. It sucked I wanted it died, but it might be maybe having a fresh perspective on here will right the ship with Nintendo, and we'll see.
It's like the Raiders from the NFL.
As Nathan Drake said,
Might be
great things have small beginnings. And speaking of Uncharted,
did you just make a segue?
I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
I'm so proud of you.
Speaking of Uncharted, this I don't necessarily deliberately point out a news outlet's failings, but this is a colossal fuck up, and I have no idea.
I feel like if anybody would, it would be you, though. To be fair.
Just to be petty and spiteful and vindictive. No, I like Video Game 24/7. VG 24/7 is a solid site. Some people like them, some people don't. I've got no beef against them. I use them for some sources and stuff that I do. But recently, they kind of fucked up hard. And this apology from the editor will make it very clear. Let me just read it here in its entirety. We would like to apologize to Naughty Dog for a massive mistake we published last month. This would be back in September. On September 30th, we published an article titled, "Is Uncharted 4 a Thief's End Too Formulaic?" based on what we thought was a hands-on session with Uncharted 4 at the Tokyo Game Show. And that headline's pretty fucking harsh for a game. It's like, okay, they're essentially saying Uncharted 4 is more the exact same thing over and over again.
Yeah, this feels like the same old game.
For it could be. We don't know. Because it turns out the game that they actually played wasn't Uncharted 4. It was Uncharted 2 from the Nathan Drake collection, the recent released HD version of it all.
Yeah, the HD re-release.
So, I clearly don't work for a major company, but if I did, whoever I'm sending, don't you think would be someone who's played these games before and they have experience on them, right?
They go on and they talk about it. Later in this article, it says, as Sony notified us of our mistake, we immediately unpublished the article. Good on them, as they should, as it was clearly based on one massive error on our part. TGS is busy, and obviously the majority of the signage isn't in English, but none of that excuses the fact that we seriously fucked up. So, yeah, it was at Tokyo Game Show. You might not have people who can speak English or speak Japanese, and they see a sign, and all they see is Uncharted, because you'll have that in English, and then a bunch of Japanese afterwards, and they really don't know. They get a hold of it. My question, though, is, I'm sorry, Uncharted 2 looks good on the HD version, but it looks nothing like Uncharted 4. In addition, the person who wrote the article has to turn that into an editor who then has to go over the article and make sure it works. So this failed at multiple levels and was still able to be published.
One, Earl Stoke has a good point. Pretty good remake, right?
They mentioned that in the article toward that it's like, hey, consider this a testament to how good your HD remake looks if we thought it was Uncharted 4.
Two, if the person who's playing the game has already played series in the past, wouldn't you think, maybe he didn't, but I said, I would send someone who has, so they have experience in the series.
Well, keep in mind,
you don't want to send you to a League of Legends tournament to talk about League of Legends.
This is at Tokyo Game Show. You have limited time to cover a whole bunch of things. I can understand you don't always get to assign your quote-unquote expert to a game. It doesn't.
Well, there's
always
also
happen.
the fact that depending on the way they have the booth set up, because there's lots of times where if you're at a game company booth, all of their games are going to be next to each other. So he could have headed to the giant signage that said Uncharted 4, because I really doubt that even if the sign's completely in Japanese,
it probably said
1 and 2 in Japanese look an awful lot like 1 and 2 in English.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And they could have had a one TV on his left that was running the HD collection and one on his right that was running Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
Exactly, and he was just in the wrong line or hopped on the wrong controller.
And not to break this dude's balls, because I feel like the website did one thing not a lot of media outlets do, and they owned their shit pretty fucking
Yeah, they did. They came out and said, hey, we fucked up. And not only that, but the editor who wrote this, the guy who okayed the green light, said, ultimately, in the end, this is all on fucking me. I should have double-checked. I'm the one that greenlit it. I fucked up. So props on them for for owning up to it and saying, hey, sorry, we fucked up. But I still can't get around is, how do you make that mistake to begin with? Like, I mean, I get like how it can happen, but it's just, that just seems basic to me.
Yeah,
I know of a way that it could happen. That it'd probably be similar to what would happen if me and Sean went to a con like this.
Drunk.
He was drunk.
Possibly, we don't know.
Sorry, hotel bar opens at 11. We got to be there by 1. We got time.
I will say this as a man who has like his toe in the world of gaming journalism, who has actually done some stuff. A lot of these people drink and party hard.
Yeah.
And a lot of these events have liquor being just served, or at the very least beer, left and right. The Assassin's Creed thing I went to in PAX, the closed door behind there, they're just like, hey, would you like a bottle of wine? Yes, I would.
Yes.
Dude.
I don't even really like
so
it.
I can see why.
The Guild Wars 2 like release party was pretty much them going, here's a whole bunch of free wine and booze. Go play our game and do drunk reviews.
Okay.
This game's tits.
I really want, actually, now that you said that, I want a publisher to have like a game demo session at a bar or whatever and just start feeding people drinks and be like, all this is we're here for drunk reviews. Straight up, you're going to play our game. We're going to give you shots. At the end of the night, you're going to walk up to the camera and give us your 10-second drunken review of our game.
Not to get too serious and
run a commercial with it.
Go on the ethics train here or anything like that, but a lot of the game preview places I've gone to have been at high-end bars in San Francisco where they'll just rent out a room and go, here's an open bar, play this game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they are there to butter your ass up and get you drunk. It is up to the reviewer or the previewer or whoever's there to go, I will be social enough, because you want to get in with these PR people. They're the gatekeeper to the games and stuff. So you do have to play the game a little bit. And by the game, I don't mean the game. I mean like the social game. But you also have to walk that fine line between that and going, I'm just going to get in bed with PR, sometimes literally. But that's neither here nor there.
Boing.
Zing.
Anyway,
that's fun.
While we're talking about
they did a screwed up. They apologized for their screwed up. Game companies, if you want us to come review your game, just feed us booze. We'll be excited.
In the end, I will say this while we're on that topic: the idea of having a drink or lunch with a PR person is not a media scandal. This happens everywhere. When it becomes media scandal is when you allow that to influence your reviews. Now, some people go on, oh, you're being influenced subliminally, blah, 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 blah. That's a conversation we can beat into the ground and go around 5 circles on and never get an end to. I will say this. It's not as crooked as a lot of people think it is, but it's not necessarily as clean as some might claim that it is either. As always, the truth is in the middle.
It's in the pudding.
Finally, if you guys aren't aware, there's an HD remake of
Uncharted
coming out, and it apparently looks really good. Dude, you know what HD remakes don't look good?
Ones that aren't ever made.
Yeah.
And that's why EA will never have a good-looking HD remake, because they're never coming. While speaking with IGN, let me bring up the article right here. Where is it? There it is. While speaking with Mitch Dyer at IGN, classic guy, by the way. I like Mitch Dyer. He's a good chap. Electronic Arts has little interest in re-releasing old games, so don't expect that Mass Effect Trilogy remake to release anytime soon. When publishers release old games on a new platform, EA CEO Peter Moore told IGN, quote, it feels like pushing stuff out because you've run out of ideas. Peter Moore is a boss, by the way. I love Peter Moore. That man is just a savage. This is the guy who tattooed the Halo 2's release date on his arm one year, and then tattooed Grand Theft Auto 4 on the other when he was announcing it for Xbox at the time.
And then Halo 3.
Yeah, I love Peter Moore. Going on, he says, quote, remakes because of who we are in this broad portfolio of intellectual property. You add it all together, I don't know where we find the time to do remakes. We're a company that just likes to push forward. Now, I like that sentiment. We don't always have to go back and talk about the old stuff. Old game is old. As much as I would love a Mass Effect Trilogy remake, if that means that they had to pull resources from making Mass Effect 4, fuck that. I would take a new Mass Effect over a up-resed Mass Effect Trilogy any day of the week. Yes?
Yeah.
No? Yeah?
I got you.
Yeah.
Can we all agree here?
EA just putting their dick on the table going, you guys are all fucking useless. We cleaning up. True story.
Sorry, I'm focusing on links and stuff in chat.
Dude,
trying to.
Are you clicking that link?
No. I'm not clicking that link. I
was like,
have
I wouldn't recommend
I like
that.
them, but I actually have to do this. Sorry there, JS Williams. No links in chat, especially to that. You've been timed out. My apologies. I like you, but I hope you can understand. I have to do it for everyone.
You got burned.
Anyway,
let's talk about
slide,
how great it is.
Let everyone slide.
Let the man talk.
Let's just talk about how great it is that EA says, you know what? We don't really like remakes because we think the remakes are subpar because it's just an IP that's already out there and you just remaster it and re-release it and get a couple dollars. Kind of like taking a game concept and making the exact same game every year and making a couple dollars off it. That's weird, EA. I wonder who does that.
Hey, I would gladly take a new quote-unquote game on top of a remaster of a game any day. I will take a new Call of Duty over a remastered Call of Duty any day of the week.
You know what, I'm going to counter this
if
with
they remake Modern Warfare 2, I'm never buying any other Call of Duty for
I was about
any
to say
reason.
that.
I'm not saying I wouldn't buy them.
Stole my words.
Sorry.
I'm just saying I have no... once again, my stance is very simple. I like HD remakes for the most part. I realize it's the industry's way of monetizing backwards compatibility. But fuck it, I'll buy them. But if that also means less time, money, and effort are put into a proper sequel, fuck it, let it burn. I have those games already.
All right.
Yep.
That's fair.
Okay.
EA doesn't like backwards. They don't like remaking games.
Yeah,
like
and I'm fine with that. I don't hate EA for that. I think EA gets a lot of irrational hate. I don't think this is one of those cases.
That's true. We can hate on EA for like a million other reasons besides the fact that they don't want to do HD remakes. This is actually a pretty decent thing. To be fair, if we're being honest.
I'm fine with it. Anyways, moving on. That does it for the news. We're going to talk about new releases coming out this week, and goddamn, there are a lot of them. The tide has begun of holiday stuff. Starting off this list is Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes. That's that 3-player 3DS Zelda game that we saw a couple months ago, and I don't think any of us really cared for it at all.
That's because we wanted a different thing, and we got that.
Yeah,
I don't play Zelda games for multiplayer.
And I got multiplayer Zelda. I don't want multiplayer Zelda. I want Zelda. Also coming out, Codemasters Punch Right in My Dick, Overlord, Fellowship of Evil. This was teased. They wouldn't come out what it said it was, and I felt like they deliberately misled people into thinking it was Overlord 3, and then they come out and they're like, hey, it's a top-down 4-player co-op dungeon crawler.
Yep, get
Stop
right.
making multiplayer games. Stop doing it.
I don't
multiplayer games are great. Stop doing it.
Isn't this Overlord a asymmetrical multiplayer game?
No.
I thought it was.
No, this is 4-player top-down co-op dungeon crawler, from what I can tell. I could be wrong on that. I don't think I am, though. Something that I am looking forward to is Rebel Galaxy. That comes out this week. We talked about it very briefly. I showed a very poor trailer. The game's actually come along a lot farther since then. You're going around in a spaceship, blowing shit up, being essentially Malcolm Reynolds. I'm pretty excited for it myself.
So it's Destiny the taking thing.
Following up with Sword Coast Legends. Sword Coast Legends looks a lot like Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance did. And so it has my interest. I don't know if I'm buying it out the gate because it's going to be $40 at launch, if I recall. But I definitely want to take a look at it. If you like Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, take a look at Sword Coast Legends. That could be something we might want to get into after we're done with something else on this list. Tales from the Borderlands Episode 5, Vault of the Traveler comes out. I will say again, Tales from the Borderlands is the best thing that Telltale Games has done so far. Absolutely love that game. Looking forward to see how it ends. You have Tales of Zestiria coming out. That is the next Tales game. Tales of Xillia, Tales of Destiny, Tales of Fantasia. This is the next one of those. If you like a JRPG and you've been needing one, pick it up. It looks solid. Noct on the PC comes out. Noct is a top-down shooter survival horror game set in a world where it's perpetually night and you're seeing through a set of night vision goggles. Also, soundtrack done by Robin something, Sean.
Robin Fink
from
Nine Inch Nails.
Looks pretty cool. I think Devolver Digital's behind this one, if I have my information right. I'm excited for it.
If you don't know who Devolver Digital is, you should be excited for it because they make things that are awesome.
Yeah, I have yet to play a bad game from them yet.
Did they do Monaco?
Published by them. They don't. No. Monaco was self-published, I think. Devolver Digital, by the way, isn't a developer; they're a publisher, but they publish excellent stuff. Also,
let's just go through a quick list, real fast. Hotline Miami,
Broforce,
Ronin, Serious Sam.
Ronin is so good. Ronin is great. If you haven't played Ronin, get Ronin.
Gods Will Be Watching.
Gods Will Be Watching sucked. Don't buy Gods Will Be Watching.
All
Did they Mark of the Ninja?
No.
No.
No, I don't think so.
Anyway, they're pretty cool.
They're good. For the most part, Devolver Digital is fantastic. I can't.
Oh, they also did the How to Full Boyfriend Pigeon Dating Simulator.
They did How to Full Boyfriend Pigeon Dating Simulator, which apparently is really dark.
Well,
anyways, other stuff coming out this week. Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
You're all about that Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with the Assassin's Creed games. Sean, you were mentioning they're kind of like the Star Trek movies. Every other one's good. I'm inclined to agree with you on this one. Unity sucked ass. Black Flag was great. Assassin's Creed 3 sucked ass.
If you don't know, Call of Duty, or Assassin's Creed's a lot like Call of Duty, where it's two different game companies that make it every other year. So basically, there's the good game company, Infinity Ward, and the bad company, Treyarch, that makes Call of Duty games. Assassin's Creed kind of does the same thing in-house, though, where it's two different teams. So this team is the one that did Black Flag.
Yeah, and that might be why I'm buying this one. Plus, I love the setting. It's in Victorian England. Around being a straight-up thug, knocking over other gangs.
Dude, just think. The
like
next one is going to take place during Prohibition. How excited are you for Assassin's Creed Gangsta Edition? Hello, 1930s.
You know, I didn't even think about that.
But that
could be good. That could actually be really good.
Could be. Just like, the first...
We'll find
Assassin's Creed, watch out for that Hitler.
They were doing...
That was actually a really good sound effect.
Dude, just cover your mic. I instantly sound like a fucking radio operator. Like, no joke.
I'd never heard that before. That's very impressive.
Yeah.
I would love an Assassin's Creed Prohibition. That would be cool. We got two more things rounding out new releases this week. One, Guild Wars 2, Heart of Thorns. This is the expansion to Guild Wars 2. If you like Guild Wars, more Guild Wars, go for it. And something that we've all been playing, Warhammer End Tides Vermintide.
Vermintide.
And you might ask us, how have you been playing this game if it's not out yet? We definitely didn't pre-order it.
No, Sean bought it
gifts ahead of time.
I hate... you pre-ordered it 3 times.
No,
David
check it
and
out.
I didn't pre-order it.
Here's what happened. No one of us individually pre-ordered this game.
Nope.
Now, we will not pre-order, but that does not prohibit us from buying games for each other.
So, not only that, but this was an early access. That's how I'm spinning it. I got no problem buying an early access game.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the beta for that game started last Friday. I have quite a few hours in it. I don't know about you guys. I pretty much spent Saturday just playing this game. And
I've got like 2.
It's pretty great so far. I mean, there are some things that need to be tweaked, but it is still running on an older version of the client, so I'm guessing that it's going to be a lot tightened up when the full release hits tomorrow. But if you're a Left 4 Dead fan and you want to get medieval and you want to throw some Warhammer paint on there, it is phenomenal. Taking out some Skavens is
23rd.
Good fun.
I like it. It's not the prettiest thing out there. In fact, it has a lot of, I think, graphical glitches to it. I've seen people walking through walls, and it's got a lot of issues with it, which I hope get solved in the final release. But I am also having fun with it. I like how it's done up. I like the setting. I like their loot system. A lot of good things along with the bad to it.
Dude, it's Warhammer Left 4 Dead with a loot system. You can't really ask for much. And they actually nailed it. They nailed what they said they were going to do.
my problems with it aren't with the idea behind the game as much as the technical problems with the game.
Which I honestly haven't experienced a lot of. I don't know. And I play that game a lot more, so I don't know exactly.
I'm fine as long as I can host. If I'm not hosting, then I'm not having as much fun.
But that's a problem,
already better. It's already better than
a problem.
Battlefronts.
Yeah.
But anyways, full release of that comes out later this week as well. So it's a busy week for video games, and it's not going to lighten up at all. I also want to take this time to point out that we are also 3 weeks away from Fallout 4.
Dun dun.
So we'll see how that goes. Final segment of the show, esports stuff. I want to kick things off by talking about the StarCraft 2 scandal in Korea right now. Just a real quick thing. The Changwon Regional Prosecutor's Office announced the arrest of 12 individuals in connection with match fixing and illegal betting in StarCraft 2, including Prime head coach Gerard and programmer Yoda. They're throwing matches for money, essentially. And so not only are you having people going to be doing big boy time, but Blizzard is just handing out lifetime bans to anyone involved in this left and right. They're swinging that hammer around hard. 5 professional StarCraft 2 matches have been found to have been fixed, according to the prosecutor's office, and Gerald and the involved players received between 5 million and 20 million Korean won, which is roughly $4,000 to $7,000 American. $17,000 American. Korean Sports Association has banned Gerard and Yoda for life, permanently suspending their licenses.
It's not even. It's not just StarCraft. It's actually multiple platform because this affects League of Legends as well. Spednu, the overall company that does this, actually has been banned from League of Legends as well, and that team is now taken over by Kespa. Kespa is actually completely kicked out Spednu from theirs, which is shocking because Spednu was actually the sponsor of League of Legends last year, and they're getting rid of their team, and Kespa's taking full advantage, taking full control of the Spednu team because they're still technically in the series. So it's bigger than that because coaches actually do multiple games. So you'll have the same coaches that did the StarCraft ones did League of Legends as well. So you still have crossover from that. And if those of you don't know, Kespa is a government-ran thing in Korea that controls esports. The mayor of Seoul is the head of it. That's how big esports is in Korea. They actually have governmental control of it.
See, that I didn't know.
Yep.
So the big thing to me is that, I mean, obviously there's a coach involved, there's players involved, but when they actually started digging and going through some of the people, like there's actually ties to gangsters,
and
like organized crime to get behind this match fixing and stuff.
Welcome to Korea.
Dude, StarCraft is serious business in Korea. I remember there was a stat, like, I want to say it was like 10 years ago or something like that, where for every one person that lived in Korea, there were 2 copies of StarCraft sold.
Per capita, yeah.
Yeah, there was a 2 to 1 per capita of StarCraft to Koreans in the actual peninsula.
Just to put this in perspective, like, there was a fixed match thing on CSGO not too long ago. Those guys got banned for like a year or something like that, and they couldn't play on their Steam accounts for a year. In Korea, StarCraft and League of Legends, they banned these guys for life.
Yeah,
they took their license away from them.
Well, not only that, but you're also talking jail time for some of these people.
Yeah.
Like if they are convicted on this, and they probably will be, you're talking jail time. You don't fuck with StarCraft over there. But anyways, that's not the reason why we actually have an esports segment. I just want to bring that up. The reason why we have it is because of League of Legends for the most part. And right now, Worlds is going on. So, Sean, why don't you break down what happened at the quarterfinals?
Yeah, so basically we announced the quarterfinal teams last week, and they played each other this weekend. It started off with Flash Wolves vs. Origin, which right away, Flash Wolves vs. Origin is probably the weakest game of the tournament, just team-wise. These were probably, if I had to rate these teams, they'd probably be the last 2 on my list. So they got a lucky break because one of them is going to go to semis. And even like the top part of this tournament is kind of stacked, or the bottom part is stacked, the top part is not. And that's the problem, because the top part you have Flash Wolves, Origin, SKT, and AHQ. The only team on here that I would consider a top contender is SKT, which I think is the team that's going to win. Everyone else I have as 8, 7, and 6 seeded. the bottom side had Fnatic, EDG, KT, and KOO, which would be like 5-4-3-2. So you have like one seed with like a whole bunch of terrible seeds, and then a whole bunch of good teams against each other. So it kind of sucks the way this worked out, but whatever happens that way, cool. Take advantage of what you can get. So the first match was Flash Wolves versus Origin. I never really liked Flash Wolves as a team. I liked individual players in there with Maple and Karsa, their jungler and mid laner. Origin winning this is, I don't want to say, I can't even say it's an upset because both these teams are so overachieving in the tournament. It's not even funny. So I don't really know what to take out the series.
Coming though. It was kind of hard to pick this before.
Just seeing this matchup in quarters was hard to see coming. It happening, I was like, I don't care what's going to happen. Like, I don't know what's going to happen here.
It doesn't matter who wins because they're both losers.
Pretty much, because they're both going to get handled by SKT. So Origin ends up winning the series 3-1. This is actually the only series I didn't actually fully watch. So I can't really comment on it. I know David did, though.
Yeah. I actually bothered to watch a whole bunch of League of Legends. And it wasn't... I don't know. Flash Wolves didn't look that great.
They're not a great team. Just Karsa and Maple are extremely talented players, and I expect them to be on different teams, aka China, next year.
Although it was fun to watch Expecke play a whole bunch of Anivia, because it's been a long time since I've seen some pro play of Anivia, so the fact that they kind of got to get away with that was pretty entertaining. So, I mean, there's still...
Go ahead.
There's still some interesting things that happen, but at no point would I be like, man, you need to go watch that Origin Flash Wolves game, because it just didn't really feel like it.
The thing to take out of this is the storyline, the fact that Expecke and SOAS are now in the third semifinals of Worlds as a European duo. So they were in the first one, which wasn't a Worlds. It was a tournament between North America and Europe, basically. So I don't really count it, but for stats-wise, we will. And then they were in Season 3. Season 3 and now in Season 5. So every other year, they've made it to semis, these two players. So good for them. Expecke is definitely probably the oldest 10-year player still left in this tournament. So cool story there. The next matchup was SKT versus HQ, which, let's just say this. SKT is 9-0 in this tournament right now.
Yeah, they kind of rolled over them.
No, we say that, but again... I do like to point out that I was happy with AHQ's performance. Okay,
you were happy with Westor's performance.
I was happy with Westor's performance. Yes. Now, at no point did I believe that AHQ was going to win the tournament overall. But honestly, I think that so far in this tournament, AHQ has given SKT their most run for their money.
But here's the problem,
especially if you're looking at Game 3.
You say that, and here's my issue with that. You say that, and Korean teams do this. They did this last Worlds. White did this last Worlds against TSM in the quarterfinals. They get cocky. They play picks that should not win, but still win with them. White dropped a game to TSM last year in the quarters because they picked Cassidy in mid with no wave clear at all, just kind of trying to style on them. What happened in this match? Third game, they're up 2-0. They picked Cassidy in mid and let Fizz get through to Westor, Westor's best champion. He's played this champion 24 times this season alone in tournament play. And Faker played Cassidy for the third time, I believe, this year out of every season, who Cassidy has fallen off out of favor against Westor's best champion. It was completely stacked that third game. Don't get me wrong, Westor kills Faker under his tower. Awesome. Does an amazing preemptive flash play, by the way. There's actually a David will probably link this somewhere, where he dives Faker under tower, and as he's coming out of Playful Trickster, he actually flashes before Faker does, and Faker flashes into him and dies because he preemptively knows what Faker's going to do. Insane mechanics. And it's so instantaneous that you don't really think about it that way, but if you slow it down, you can see it, that he actually flashes before Faker does, which is completely out of this world. Great mechanical play. That being said, SKT styled on them in Game 3. They did style picks.
That's fine, but HQ gets to be happy because they ruined a couple of stats. One, they broke Bang's KDA.
Whatever, dude.
didn't get 100 KDA. They broke him at 71. They killed him, and they took more dragons than anybody else in the rest of the tournament combined against SKT.
Yeah, SKT allowed one dragon in group stage. I believe they gave up 2 in the series.
They gave up 5 this series. They almost got a 5 dragon in Game 3.
That's how, yeah.
They got 4 dragons in Game 3.
The stat that matters the most, though, is Bang is still professionally undefeated on Callista. Yeah. And that happened in Game 3. You do not give SKT Callista. They played Cassid and mid and still won because...
You're saying this is one of those chances, one of those cases where the game was lost during the pick?
The game was lost when the groups was drawn.
When they went up against them?
The game was lost when Ziv had to play Marin. Honestly.
And tragically, Ziv is a all-star top laner, and Marin is just on a heater right now, and he's by far the best top laner in this world. It's unreal how good he is right now.
Watching that matchup, like, you feel bad for... Because Ziv's done pretty well in this tournament so far, and just watching that matchup, like, it wasn't even... They're playing at a different level.
Ziv is probably the most underrated player in this tournament. This dude's unreal, by the way. If you want to go back and watch HQ games, Ziv... He will be on a Chinese team next year, I guarantee it, because they'll pay him a shit ton of money. The bottom side of the bracket first game was Fnatic versus EDG. I honestly thought the series was going to go 3-2, pretty close series. EDG, they won MSI, they beat SKT. The last team to actually beat SKT in a best-of series did not show up to this Worlds at all. Fnatic 3-0'd them very, very convincingly.
With a minor hiccup.
I will say this, the only thing that could have stopped Fnatic, or actually helped Fnatic in this, was the biggest thing of the series takeaway was a bug that happened. In Game 2...
You were mentioning that, like, a champion had... A couple champions actually had issues where it was just... What? Yeah, but there were 2 other champions tied to them that they also got rid of, didn't they?
They found out that happened, but in this game it was only one.
Go for it.
Those characters don't get played, so they don't really matter.
It doesn't matter. So... Reignover was playing Gragas, and a very rare Q bug happened where he couldn't cast the spell anymore. So the game was actually recreated, and EDG was actually winning that game pretty handedly. But since it got recreated, Fnatic won that game, and that was probably the biggest storyline of the series, because outside of that one instance, Fnatic destroyed EDG. Now, could that have been a moral swing? Maybe. But, that being said, Deft has not been the same player since MSI. He was arguably the best player in the world, even beating out Faker there for a little bit, and it's just fallen off. EDG played Amazing J during the group stage as their top laner, then played Coral 1 during the quarters. They kind of did this last year, too. And, like, this is the story of EDG. They show up, they have great talent, they have great players. Last year they had Name, probably arguably the best AD carry in the world. Did not show up, played terrible in Worlds last year. Not only that, but in group stage they used... FZZF as their support, and then in group stage they switched to Cloud. Same thing this year. They had a top laner in Amazing J because they felt like he was adapted to the meta better. As soon as they went to quarters, they switched to Cora 1. So they've done pretty much the same thing in 2 straight Worlds now, where they were definitely a dominant team in China, just destroying people, didn't show up. China as a region in this tournament, extremely disappointing. They looked really good as a region. They have all these Korean power hitters, Deft, Imp, Flame, Acorn, Pawn, like all these great imports. Didn't put up. Don't know what happened. Like, we're going to have to see until after Worlds what actually happened. I think a lot of these Korean players are going back to Korea because of this. They got paid, cool, now win championships kind of thing. But, like, it was just disappointing. Fnatic playing out of their mind in this tournament, like, I can't take anything away from them. I will say I think it's more of the other team not showing up than Fnatic playing well. But it's a little bit of both. I
also think that Yellow Star is actually shot calling pretty well for them. Like, from what they were messing up with in, the second week.
First week.
The first week. Like, they really seem to tighten it up, and they're playing as a team a lot better, I think.
Yellow Star definitely looked very, very shaky in the first week, and then the second week where he busted out the Shin, Kennen bot lane, they've completely switched it around. And that's another thing. You have to ban Kennen against Fnatic right now. They're too good with that pick, because it's a triple flex pick. 80 carry mid top. Like, that's crazy. And so it's actually a quadruple flex pick, because Yellow Star can play it too, which is unreal.
They play it support.
With Callista if they ever get it. Which shouldn't happen with great teams. I'm actually very shocked.
The thing that I think made me sad about the Game 2 remake is that of all the games in this tournament, there's been 2 characters that were consistently banned. One 100%, one 98% before this game, and that's Gangplank and Mordekaiser. Game 2 of this series, they let both of them through.
Yeah, Mordekaiser was picked in group stages by TSM, and I believe Flash Wolves got it too. I can't remember the other team, but it was picked twice. But outside of that, it was always banned. GamePoints pretty much been 100% banned except for that one game.
Yeah, and that was the
so
game
that
that
was
they had
cool.
to remake. Was the one that had both of them in it on opposite sides.
But Fnatic completely destroyed EG here. Very disappointing. Last game of the quarters was KT versus Q, which happened yesterday. A series that it went 3-1, but it was actually way closer than it actually looks like on paper. KT in Game 4 gave up a massive 6K goal lead at 20 minutes to lose this game, which is for a Korean team unheard of. Now, this game out of the rest of the games was very interesting because it was two Korean teams facing each other. So, like this Worlds meta that developed, every year a meta develops at Worlds where you see these picks from like different regions kind of get used by other regions. Yeah, so like you see them like kind of contribute to other teams.
Also, the Western Tower trade thing is like a for sure.
Oh yeah,
thing now.
Yeah, the tower. The problem with this series is like it completely reverted to like 2 months ago because it's two Korean teams playing each other, so they started playing Malphite again. They did Fiora top lane, which by the way, the series was lost in pick and bans to me because you gave Smeb Fiora 4 straight games in a row.
Yes,
he hard carried.
Fiora
so
was
hard.
Ridiculous. I don't know why they kept letting that happen.
It was unreal how hard this dude carried, and they even tried to stop it with the Malphite pick, which is better late game, but gets dumpstered on a lane. Didn't really succeed. So Ku Tigers ends up winning the series 3-1. They looked pretty damn good. However, Ku and Fnatic are basically the Korean and European versions of each other. They have terrible early games that can be exploited, but their late game shot calling and team fighting is very on point.
Well, that should make things interesting this weekend when they go up against each other.
Yeah, which I think it's going to be. If I have to. Fnatic,
it sounds like SKT is just going to beat the holy hell out of Origin like a redheaded stepchild, so that's probably not even a game that's going to be worth watching. It sounds like the Fnatic versus Ku Tiger is going to be the matchup. If you had to pick one, that sounds like the one you'd want to watch.
Now, here's the thing, is out of all the teams in this tournament, I think SKT can beat all of them but Fnatic. That being said, I think Ku is better than Fnatic and will beat Fnatic.
It's just that SK team knows Ku better than Fnatic.
It's just stylistically, Fnatic just matches up well against SKT.
It's that rock paper scissors thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they don't try and rush things. Like they're able to take their time when they need to, and that's how SKT's been playing. They're really controlled. And one of the things they were doing is, if you watch a lot of their games, like they just win at 30 minutes. They wait. They have a team fight around 28 to 29 minutes. They get Baron, and they win before Baron timer's up.
They have an absolute timer.
They're like Iceman. They wait for you to make the mistake.
Except for Game 3 with AHQ, because that game took 45 minutes. What's up?
Sean, what matchup would you like to see?
SKT versus Fnatic.
But you think it's going to be SKT versus Ku Tigers?
I think it's going to be SKT versus Fnatic. But
really?
I think Ku... Here's the problem, is I think Ku's a better team than Fnatic as a team, but individually, Fnatic is just better. And Ku has always had problems against players that are just better mechanically than them. If Ku wins, it's going to be a hard carry from Smeb. Now, the reason why I want SKT to play against Fnatic in the finals, one, it'd be cool to see a Western team in the finals of Worlds for the first time ever. Two...
That's Season 1.
Season 1 wasn't on a Worlds. It was just Season 1 tournament.
I know.
Two... I hate the fact that Huni has this huge bandwagon fan following as a top laner, and I want Marn to absolutely destroy this motherfucker. Like, I hate Huni so much just because he's like the Seattle Seahawks of goddamn League of Legends. People just like him because he was good and dominating the scene. I want like Marn to show up and just destroy. Aaron Rodgers is full. Destroy that defense and just.
It's totally fair because that guy gets in his own head thinking that he's the shit, and like there are times where, like for example, the first week when they weren't paying enough attention to Huni, he was throwing pretty hard.
I just want to like go up to this guy and be like, "You're a Korean player in Europe. You could not cut it in your own country. You had to flee to Europe."
Fucking
Marn is the best top liner in Korea, you pussy. Like,
moving from state to state because you can't get elected.
Shit on him. And I think Smeb's better. Like, honestly, out of the 4 top laners, I think
They're
Hoonie's
gonna
the
need
worst
to
one.
ban Fnatic, or Fnatic's gonna need to ban Fiora next week.
Oh yeah, there's no
Like,
way you can let
they
Smeb
they
have...
they have to, because
Here's the
Hooney's
problem.
Darius, Hooney's Jarvan is not gonna beat Smeb's Fiora.
Here's a great storyline too. Hoonie played Riven against EDG, I believe in 2 games, at least one the 3rd game.
He played twice.
Hoonie isn't even like a top 2 Riven player left. Smeb is like the god of Riven, and Marin plays Riven better. I want like, here's the this is what the greatest thing I could think that happened is, SKT plays Fnatic, right? Happens, cool. They pick Riven away from Hoonie, and Faker plays it. Don't even give us your top laner. You're not even better than a mid laner at Riven. Like, I want to see that happen. I want him to get schooled by a mid laner at a top lane champ. Because Faker, by the way, is professionally undefeated on Riven in tournaments. He's 5-0. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got nothing else for you.
But I think that if they can control Hooney a little bit, if they can get him to not play too reckless, then with Fabevin playing really well right now, Yellowstar actually playing well.
Actually, Fabivin is the wild card. Like, Fabivin can carry a game or 2, which is the scary part. And I really think we'll see Faker play LeBlanc in the finals.
We'll definitely see how that shakes out. I think that's going to wrap things up, unless you two have anything you want to add.
No, I think I linked that clip of Faker vs. Westdoor already in chat. So
I think,
or if you want to
SKT
look it up, just type in Faker vs. Westdoor on.
Are you willing to make a bold prediction, David, on anything?
Of course
Bold
he is. Look at this,
prediction?
man.
Yeah. Basically, a bold
bold.
prediction. I'll give you a 30% chance of being right. If you had a 30% chance of being right on something, what would it be?
Fnatic 3-0's coup.
In the entire
Wait.
tournament.
All right, 3% chance of being right. Origin wins a game.
That is a bold move. Let's see how well it works out for you.
I will say SKT goes 15-0 in the Worlds.
Like, they just...
Oh.
Has that happened before? I don't think it's happened before.
The only time a team has ever gone undefeated in any kind of tournament was in OGN after Season 3 in 2013 winter season, where SKT went 13-0.
Well, we'll definitely
Dude, but
see
didn't
that.
you hear about how Fnatic totally just went 48-0 during regular season?
48-0. And how they almost lost the Origin in the European
Get out of here
finals.
with that.
No, like they lost games in the finals. SKT went through the entire tournament, group stage and tournament style undefeated.
No, I
It
got
was the
you.
only time it's ever happened.
SK is kind of a powerhouse. It's fine. I'm not excited about the SK Origin game. That's not what I'm here
Completely
for.
different roster.
Anyways, short of
That's League of
anything
Legends.
else,
Boing.
that wraps things up for the show. This has been Game Points. If you're watching us live, thanks for participating in chat. We always like it. We broadcast live every Monday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here at Twitch TV/GamePoints. If you can't join us live and you can't participate in chat, you can always watch us on YouTube. Just type in Game Points, one word on there. We pop right up now. We don't have to go any weird typing, something like that. We've actually have enough presence on there, right up the top. Give us a subscribe, watch all the old videos, like, comment, do anything you want down below. If you want to reach out to the show, you can get us at the following. You can follow us at Twitter at GamePointsPC. You can email the show directly at GamePointsPC@gmail.com, or you can go to the Facebook and type in Game Points Podcast or pop right up. Give us a like there, follow us, or whatever the hell Facebook does. It'll let you know if there's any delays to the show. You can also find when stuff gets posted up there. If you want to follow us If you want to follow us individually, I am your host, Stephen Brown. You can follow me at CapitalistBig21. You can follow our esports guy down there, Sean Brown at Vidisco_King. And across from him, our third man, the Thriller in Vanilla, David Smith. You can follow him at PalShife_Satori, even though he really doesn't Twitter too well, so I wouldn't bother if I were you. Anyways, barring anything else, this has been Game Points, and thank you for watching.
Adios.